For the past 2 months, I had taken a break from intensively studying Mandarin to try out Spanish, and now, with this 2 month period over, I have returned to learning Mandarin intensively. And for this video, it's not going to be a Spanish update video, but rather what my perspective looked like in Mandarin while I was taking this language break. I want to give you just 2 tips on whether or not you should or should not take a break in a language or not. And no, this is not going to be a Spanish update video. That's going to come later. So not to waste your time anymore, let's go over the best part I found with a break. This is the only part. The other parts like burnout relief and such really didn't apply to me. Hence, really because when I was taking a break in Mandarin, I did not feel any sort of burnout. I did not feel that I needed anything big. But I did find that it really helped me develop this third person perspective in the rest of my language learning journey, well, with just Mandarin, where I was able to look at my journey from a third person perspective after taking a break. It happened around after 1 to 2 weeks of taking this break, and I was really able to see how undeliberate I was. For example, I was constantly doing stuff like free flow immersion, not doing anything really intensively, hence why I realized that time, oh, this is probably the reason why I wasn't making any progress. So this is one of the best parts about the break that I've found so far, which is you can really reevaluate yourself if you just take 1 to 2 weeks off of just intensively studying Mandarin. It doesn't have to be even where you need to study another language, but you don't need to really be focusing on just learning a language all the time. You could just step back a bit, then you can suddenly realize, wait a minute, I've been doing this and this and this. And then after that, you can come back with a renewed mindset. However, there's another really big downside to taking a break that I have currently found, which is, to simply put it, inconsistency and neglect. Because even though my Mandarin is around a B1 to B2 level, which is pretty good, however, the problem is that I haven't crossed what's this thing called the threshold, not a threshold, but yes, a threshold of comfortability. Even though I have crossed the threshold of fun, where I can now enjoy lots of content in the language, I have not crossed over comfortability, which those two are completely different things, because you can pretty much find that if you're not comfortable with a language, it's very likely for you to start neglecting it. And neglect is going to be extremely dangerous, because it's going to be very easy to start forgetting a language if you don't incorporate it in some sort of routine or something in order to maintain it. It's even getting evident, for example, with Spanish language, but at even lower level than my Mandarin. It's very easy to neglect a language that you aren't studying and you aren't very comfortable with, or at least hit some sort of fluency with, because you don't really have some sort of motivation to go and learn because you're not learning it. And also, there's no sort of extremely fun content out there that you would even watch without needing to study the language. Because, for example, some of the things I have been watching in Mandarin, for example, Honkai Star Rail, which is a video game, even though I'm able to understand it, I am not comfortable with it, and I need to use my brain power in order to play it. And hence, even though I was out with this break, I didn't want to play Honkai Star Rail because the game was just hard, and I just didn't want to use my brain power to try to understand everything if I wasn't even going to be learning Mandarin in the first place. The only things I did were just some easy things. However, these easy things were only just also like a couple minutes a day, not anything really that big as well. So there it is. And in order to really tell if you want to take a break in a language or not, is that you have to consider 2 things. It's going to be either how good you are at the language at the moment, and how consistent have you been. The first one being very obvious is that I've just explained it before. If you're not good enough at a language, it's very easy to start neglecting it and eventually forget it. Second one is consistency, because this can happen at almost any level as well. Because if you're not consistent with a language, the problem will come where you are not consistent and then you suddenly want to take a break. And then when you take a break, it's almost like giving up, because when you come back, you're going to realize that, oh, the same problems of having a low level, and then, yeah, it's going to be even worse. And even when you do get consistent and you want to take a break, it's kind of strange, because why would you take a break right now? I'm right now on a roll. I want to keep going. But sometimes, yes, if you are inconsistent, then it's probably best to not take a break now, but rather tone down your study. I'm going to acknowledge that, yes, life situations do come in a way. Like, for example, with Spanish, I have to take a Spanish class, hence one of the reasons why I had to switch to Spanish temporarily. However, just assuming that we do not have any life situations at all and we were just learning, then this would be the guideline that I would follow. And taking a break in a language that you're not really even good at is something that I would not recommend at all that you do, unless, of course, life situations happen, because it's best almost 99.9% of the time that you stick with one language, get it to at least a B2 level, and then after that, okay, then I could move on to another language, take a break, do this and that. Because if not, then you will run into the problem that I've just mentioned earlier. So that's all I have to say. Video much shorter than my usual ones, but we have a road to explore. 我们的旅程刚刚开始. Also, yes, I do have a Mandarin reading course in the description. If you're interested, please buy and support me. Thank you.